The Grow My Cleaning Company podcast helps owners of cleaning companies just like you to grow your company and yourself so you can make more money and finally get the time and money freedom that probably got you into this business. Discover how to automate and create systems that allow you to grow like crazy without losing control. If you dig the show and want to show some love, subscribe, rate, and review on iTunes. It really helps. Enjoy the show.
Hello, Cleaning Nation. This is part 1 in a 2-part episode. Stay tuned for the next episode for part 2. Enjoy.
Hey, Cleaning Nation, Mike Campion here with, I hate to say one of my favorite people because he's going to get a big head, but I actually dig this dude. Dirk Fowler, which sounds like an action hero, like in a book, like a Tom Clancy novel. Like Dirk Fowler should be like the old, smart, like retired FBI agent they keep calling back because he's like, knows about stuff. Anyway, what he tells me he does in his time is run Actually Clean, which is a Fort Collins, Colorado, predominantly, I believe, residential carpet cleaning. This guy's been doing it for 20 years, I think. Started like 2000, 2001, somewhere in there. Roped his poor kid into doing it, who was a kid when they started, now like full grown, adult human being. And is one of our amazing elite members. Did I miss anything or tell a bunch of lies that you need to correct before we go on?
No, Mike, you got it. Yeah, that's about nailed it.
Yeah, they give me a intro to read. That wasn't it. I'll tell you that. But I think I covered the points with my own commentary. So one of the reasons I want to have Dirk here is, as much as I love yakking at you and having our team of people coach, there's always some version of, well, yeah, that's you guys and blah, 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 blah. Whereas Dirk's just a dude that had some frustrations with his business and we've been working together, and I'm sure he still has some frustrations, but his life's different. And again, we've got a 9-week program that's really hard to deliver in 20-minute bites, one to many. So we can't do that. But what I do like to do is have people that are succeeding, have them share their fears and frustrations where they were. So you can go, oh my gosh, this is a real dude. I felt some of those things, or that makes sense. B, share some of their fears of going forward. So maybe that'll help you go, I've got those fears and this guy made it. He seems to be okay. And then C, kind of share from their perspective, the big changes they made. So you can go, I will save the money to give to Mike and I'll just steal that and do it, which is fine. If you guys can get results without us, God bless. That's why we do the podcast. If you need help, obviously reach out. So that's the goal for today. I always like to start with before, like walk me through kind of when you started this, what your hopes and dreams were. Maybe if there's, over 20 years, there might've been 1 or 2 key points. And then, having done this 20 years, generally similarly, and then finally going, enough, I've got to make a big left turn. What happened to bring all that on? So you talk, I'll listen, or we as Cleaning Nation will collectively listen.
Sure. I appreciate that. And I think, the story is important, but I think everybody has their struggles in life and what they want to accomplish. And there's always roadblocks, and it's always how you deal with those roadblocks and into what makes you successful. And like you've told us, you got to be resourceful. And I felt like I've always been that way, but my goals, in the beginning were basically just to provide for a family and hopefully get to a level of success that I can afford, some extras like vacations and this and that, and just not really over the top kind of, wealthy, but at the same time comfortable, more comfortable. And so originally it was just me and going out and getting jobs, and I used to paint apartments. So I kind of contracted with some other helpers, painters, and we would go in and paint and do the carpet cleaning. So we were kind of a one-stop shop. They could call us to do that, and the apartments would turn them over, and that worked well. And as it got more and more into doing residential and the apartments, it was just nonstop. I'd be home, out all day, and then sometimes turn around and have to go back out and do water extractions at night, or get called at 2:00 in the morning to go do a water extraction. And, trying to do it all myself, it was just like, okay, something's got to change. So I tried I would say it was a decent marketing approach, but it was just, higher end stuff, raise your prices, that kind of thing. And it's like, I feel like there's elements of a lot of these things that I've tried, but just never really had momentum and traction going forward with something that really, really clicked and really worked. And I could see, oh, now I need to start hiring, quality people and have a system, a place to do that. So for me, it was always hit and miss. And I got frustrated to the point where I started thinking, well, maybe I should just start a side business or an online business or something and try to replace this income and then just get rid of this whole mess, and not deal with the headache of, employees and then getting rid of those guys and doing it myself because I can do a better job, blah, 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 all that mindset and your, monkey chatter in your brain telling you, oh, you're not going to find anybody that's good enough. And you hear it from everybody. Mm-hmm. Oh, there's just not good help out there. And on and on and on. You hear it all. And at the end of the day, you just get frustrated.
By the way, you only hear that from people who have also tried and failed, and you trying and succeeding would threaten them. You never hear that from the people that are living the life that you want. They zip it because they're fine. So just want to be clear. Yeah, there's a lot more failures than there are successes. So it feels like, and the failures want to talk about their failures more than no one ever asks a successful, right? Because you ask a successful person, you might feel uncomfortable because he or she's living the life that you want. And that's going to put you out of your comfort zone. So we only go ask other people who are unsuccessful so we can commiserate, which feels great today, but not great if you'd like different results. So I just couldn't help because that's such a common, other people think that. And it so drives me nuts when I hear, because we coach all over the world, right? So whatever, we've had clients in Fort Collins and I know they're successful companies. So, and in your province or state or country or wherever. So we all have that. Yeah, but my business is different and no one in my place wants to work and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, the people you've been talking to, I've been talking to different people.
Right.
Maybe you talk to the people that get you the results that you want, not the people that make you feel the way you want to feel. All right. Sermon over, back to Dirk. Well, hold on. That's not fair. Sermon paused. I'm sure I'll keep preaching. Sermon on pause. Back to Dirk.
You mean I can't just say that's no more sermon? No.
you can, but better men have failed. My wife can't get me to shut up, so you got no chance, buddy.
Right. No, I appreciate that interjection and insight because it is true. It's who you talk to. It's who you surround yourself with. The old saying that you're as successful as the five closest people around you and that kind of thing. And so, it just got to the point where, I had thought about selling the business, just getting out of it, trying something else, whatever. And I'm just the type that I can't work for somebody else. I mean, I have, but it's just not my ideal situation. So, Cole, my oldest, is 29 and he has been working with me since he's like 11 and he used to outwork 20-year-olds and he's always been a super consistent, super why can't I think of a stupid word, just responsible is like just over the top responsible. Like he would watch his, younger siblings. We'd come home sometimes and be like, hey, take care of this and this. And he'd be like, okay. And he'd just do it. He'd never give us any crap. And always just, the younger ones always look up to him. So he started working, as a young boy. And one of the most impressive things about Cole that I remember, we were working one day, we're doing just some apartments and it was a 2-bedroom apartment, which they weren't small, but they're not huge. But he's like, hey, Dad, can I clean this whole apartment by myself? I'm like, you want to do it all by yourself? He's like, well, I just want to say I did. I'm like, knock yourself out, buddy. And he did. And he was like 14 years old at the time. And I was like, okay.
And you probably got full-grown men with kids and dependents that are like, this is too hard. I don't want to do it. Blah, blah, blah. I'm hungover, whatever their thing is. And you got a 14-year-old kid working for fun because he loves his dad. Just like, I want to show what I got. Yeah.
And to me, that just tells you what kind of mindset he had at a young age. And he's always had that mindset, like, I can do this,
So let me jump in to keep it moving. Couple things I want to mention for everybody. I know a lot of you out there do not have a carpet cleaning component to your business, but I don't want you to mishear what Dirk's saying. Hopefully all of you are going, oh my God, I've been to that place where my business didn't feel great. And I was like, if I could just sell it, if I could just start a side hustle. So I want you to get what, yes, Dirk probably doesn't live in your city. He's probably not your age. You may or may not, you probably don't have a kid like Cole that works with you. You might clean janitorial or maid service or do pressure washing. Like there's many things that may be different, but I want to make sure that you don't exclude the things that are similar and go, holy crap, I can learn from this guy, right? He went from, I'll just start, and he did, to I'm kind of overworked and this isn't working. And here's the problem, by the way, I'm not beating on Dirk, but everyone goes through this, including yours truly. And this is what Dirk went through. Truth be told, I had a general vision of, and we usually on the money side, we're kind of clear. Like I want some vacations. I want a little savings. I want maybe a nice car, whatever. Like we kind of get an idea of, doesn't matter. I'm making 60 grand. If I can make 160 grand, whatever. Like we've got some general loose ideas, but when it comes to the lifestyle, we just have this, and it drives me nuts. People go, I know when you're starting a business, you got to ruin your life and work like crazy. And it's like, yeah, you got to be willing to do that. Certainly. And oftentimes that may be a reality for 6 months or even a year. But when you're 19 years in or 5 years in or 3 years in and go, I know as a business owner, you've got, and we just kind of have this, like, we just assume all these things that aren't true. I know there's no good people out there. I'm like, well, as long as that's your belief, that's going to be your experience. Like, so what I hear you saying is you kind of had some success in terms of the financial end. I'm assuming you're making some money and doing well. Maybe not all of your dreams and whatever, but you're paying bills. I'm sure you could go on vacation. You had some extra, like you generally were successful from that regard, but you had I'm guessing what started as a dull ache of, I'm not happy. And the problem is we don't really stop and think through and articulate this. We just go, yeah, I'm working too much. And then we just kind of say, that's it. And then, maybe my wife's a little fussy with me because I'm not home. And when I am home, I'm not present, or maybe. And we kind of like, what's the frog in the boiling water, right? It just goes up a little and little until all of a sudden, typically when folks come to me, they're like, holy crap, I'm boiling to death. But it's been, for the good people, 6 months. For the people that break my heart, it's been 10 years. So what did that look like? And what was, if there was a tipping point or a boiling point, what was the point that made you go, I gotta, no more. I won't live like this no more.
So in the last 2.5 years, just real quickly went through a divorce and realized that not only is the business not very profitable, it's not profitable enough right now to support, all of that's going on. And Cole wants to take it over, and he's going to be taking over a sinking ship. And I'm like, okay, this is impossible. We got to do something. And saw your ad, responded. I'm like, okay. And I was kind of hesitant, like, you think maybe Cole will be on board? I'm not sure. I sent him a link to watch it. He responded like, yeah, let's do this. We need this. And I'm like, we're both just like focused and on board. And we're just so excited that we know we have all the pieces that we need. And before it was just like throwing darts, at something like, I don't know if this is going to work, but we'll see if it sticks, and it's like, now we just have this vision, and now we're thinking, long-term, we're hands off, business is running by itself, and it's fantastic. We got extra money, we can take vacations, all that kind of stuff. And then I'm looking at even like, okay, what other business can we build, or can we do this in another city, or, another state, or whatever. And it's like, it's just opened your beliefs to what it can be, rather than, oh man, I guess this is just how business is. Like you were saying, it's like, you just accept it, like, oh, this is all there is. And you just got to work your tail to the bone until the day you die, basically. So it gives you hope, it's like, man, it's been fantastic. I don't know if I answered your question or not, but I got two takeaways I want to share. A, for Clean Nation. B, you can let me know if I'm tracking with you or not. And then we'll kind of talk about what changes you've made and what like specific things you've done that maybe Clean Nation could go, oh, I could do that. I could steal that. So one, I heard the beginning of, I wasn't clear on what I wanted. I'd taken some training, and it doesn't sound like it was bad training. It just wasn't like this podcast is training. I think a lot of times we dip our toe in and we want that. Like, I'd like this, because we tell ourselves, it's not that big a deal. I'm just working a little too much. Or, because we can't, if we really were in touch with the pain that we're dealing with every day, all day, we couldn't get out of bed. It would be crippling. Right. So because we're not like, and because we're entrepreneurs, like, I can do it. It's not that, we always kind of want to think positive, which is great 98% of the time until we use it to get delusional territory. So
what I hear you saying is you weren't able to, just because of lack of perspective, or didn't choose to, or some combination, to really look back and go, holy crap, this is a sinking ship, right? Like this is a bigger deal than, because we're making money, you're healthy, and we're not coal miners making, there's people, digging ditches for diamonds in Africa, making, so it kind of depends on what standard you set. And probably because you were talking to other people that were like, well, I make less money than that, or my job, or I at least hate my job. I only work 40 hours a week. Maybe you work 80, but you seem to love what you do. I hate it. So we kind of compare ourselves to people that aren't really living the dream that we want, and go, well, I guess I've got a little better in some areas of theirs and a little worse, but we're all here together. And that wasn't working. So what I heard you say is, once you kind of came in to, and by the way, guys, this isn't a pitch for our program. It's a pitch for massive change. And if that's our program or a different program, but doing something a little differently is not the answer, right? So I don't want anyone to be like, oh, Mike's magic, that's what he's saying. That's not it. But Dirk took an immersive, comprehensive step forward. So as opposed to, and I don't know what your training that you've taken before, but I'm guessing there was ebooks or podcasts or $997 training courses, whatever. It doesn't matter. They were low cost, and I don't just talk about dollars, although that's part of it, but time, right? If I get low cost, here's $1,000, give me a bunch of binders, which is good. I've got a lot of $1,000 binders in my thing, and many of them have helped me. But it's like many of those also remain unopened, not because the binders are no good, because there's just not that whole thing where it's like, all right, I'm gonna, again, if I was gonna get off drugs, and it's like, I'll sign up for an online course for $97 a month and hope for the best. That's different than, I'm going to move into a facility. I'm going to give up a lot of my freedoms and I'm going to go all in. Changing a business can go all in. So what I hear you saying, Dirk, is once you kind of got a little clear on, this isn't, I'm further off than I thought, and you took a more immersive community experience, as opposed to, I'm just going to try and do this on my own, or you even had your son and you're still alone, that community helped because you started seeing a vision that you couldn't see before. Because when it's just you and Cole, he's looking at you going, I don't know, Dad, I've been doing this since I was 11. Like, whatever vision you have, that's about the limit of, and I'm sure he's experienced other people, but at the end of the day, you're 98% of his vision of what's possible. And you're busy looking at all your friends that maybe have jobs for this or whatever, and that you just don't see the possibility. And, seeing videos like this is helpful, but once you actually immerse yourself and start spending time, you start going, holy crap, there's really a new life out there. Sounds like, but we haven't even talked one tactic, which we're going to, but just seeing, holy crap, people out there that aren't any smarter, better off than me, don't have anything I don't have. They're changing their life. I can change my life. Am I overstating or missing?
No, that's accurate. And not even people in the same business. I would look at other people that are successful that I know personally and think, well, they can do it. Why can't I, kind of thing. And you start to doubt yourself, you need someone else to just have the confidence knowing that you can do it. Someone like a great coach that's like, hey, you just need to tweak a couple little things here and there, and you'll be on your way. And, that goes a long way. And I've always been a confident guy, but it's like, you still have those negative beliefs in the back of your head telling you, maybe it's not for you.
And I would encourage you guys and gals out there. I've done a bunch of, let me take you to lunch and pick your brains. I don't even do that anymore. Not because I'm a jerk, but because they never get anything. They feel great after. Oh, that's good. They get I'm able to pump them up and give them some of my energy, but I think I'm really hurting them because they leave thinking one lunch is going to change their life. And then exactly what Dirk did. They look at me and go, well, that guy's not any smarter than me. What the heck? What's he doing different? And they're like, maybe in a lunch, I can get everything he's learned over 25 years. And then I'll be different. And then when that one lunch, which is an unfair standard, I'm going to take this guy to lunch. And again, they're my friends. It's not like I'm not trying to help them. I'm giving everything I can. It's not like I'm like cagey, but how much can they absorb in an hour? Not much. How much, if I was perfect and said every word and everything and told it exactly right so they could understand it maximum capacity, which I'm not. But even if I could, they can only accept so much. And then they judge themselves and go, well, Mike can do it and I can't. So and they start doubting. It's like, well, Mike spent 20 years and hundreds of thousands of dollars with mentors and brain damage and all this sort of stuff. You getting that value in a lunch would be awesome, but it's just not realistic, right? Or even if you've got a mentor, again, I'm not trying to pitch coaches, but you do want a system and a thing that's like, and that's why money helps, right? Like, even if I went to lunch for 3 months with a guy once a week, I should be much better than just whatever. But at the end of the day, he didn't pay me anything, and free coaching is always what you paid. I may or may, guess what? If a client comes up with a need, I'm canceling my lunch with this dude, right? Like I owe you. So there's some sort of investment needs to be on both sides, right? Like you got to give a crap. It's got to cost you something. I've often said, if I had a brother or friend that wanted to start a cleaning company and like, Mike, help me out, I would put him through the exact same program. Like, well, could I get it? No, not a discount. For me, I don't want your stupid money. But for him, if he's not willing to pay, I'm like, no, I don't want your dumb money, brother, friend, whatever, but I'll give it away. I'll light it on fire, but you have to pay. It has to cost you something. Right. And then even for me and my team, we got to do it. So I just want to encourage you, whoever mentor you get, if there's not some sort of financial commitment on both ways, it's really hard for you. It's got to cost you something. And then also a community is even better, right? Me yakking at Dirk can help, but seeing other people fall in the same things going, oh my God, I actually see it working. That goes a long way, as opposed to just go, well, look at me, Dirk. And he's like, well, Cole and Dirk, Kirk. So sometimes that's why you're like, why would you call me Kirk? It's Cole and Dirk. Anyway, so I just want to encourage you guys, find someone that's got a system and it's really committed, and don't beat yourself up or judge yourself because you're like, I went to one lunch with one guy, or I found a mentor who met with me once a week with no other commitment on my end. And somehow I didn't get transformation. Or even I went to a weekend seminar. Like, and weekend seminars are great. They can really help. I've done keynotes and I do the best I can to give transformation in 90 minutes. But honest to goodness, in 90 minutes, you can give 1 or 2 good takeaways and maybe one thing the guy's like, I'm going to do a little better. He's not going to change his life. Rarely, it's impossible. Even with a weekend seminar, now you get 4 or 5 or 6 keynotes, 10 takeaways, and you feel really great for a weekend, but it's really hard to change your life. So just be fair to yourself when you be like, I've got this problem that took me years to build, and I expect to get it fixed over lunch and it didn't. Maybe I'm stupid. Like maybe you are, but the fact that you couldn't change your life over one lunch, over one weekend, over one seminar, that's an unfair standard.
Yeah, it really is. It's almost like expecting to walk into the Matrix and just getting a download plugged into the back of your head and being like, oh, I got it.
Yeah, I think that's why that's so cool, right? We see like, I would love to learn karate in like a minute, but we know it's karate is a great thing. Could you imagine, Dirk, if you were like a jiu-jitsu black belt? I'm like, let me take you to lunch and tell me how to do all that. And you're like, you mean the thing that I blood, sweat, and tear for 20 years? You want me to download that 2.5 hours? Sure. Right. Sure. Like that's such, and when it comes to martial arts, we get like, well, that's insane. But when it comes to business, somehow we're like, no, I think that's, and then maybe it's marketing, right? Maybe people are like, buy my $997 whiz bang thing, which is, I'm sure, I'm not judging. I'm sure there's good content, blah, 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 blah. But again, that would be like, buy my $997 booklet on how to do karate. Like, couldn't hurt. Maybe it'll help you to fight. I don't know. But it's wildly different than come to my dojo. Let's actually fight and actually do this for 3 nights a week for 20 years. And that's what it costs to really master this thing. Yeah. All right. Good. I love that foundation. Now, from your perspective, what are the big things? I like asking, what's the big thing that I asked you to do that you didn't want to do and have that work out, good or bad, right? I don't want to just be like the surprises. And then what's the best thing that's just the easiest takeaway that everyone else is like, I did it and it was easy and you should all do it. So I kind of like the one that could have been bad or good, but you hated it, even if it turned out good. And then the one that you're like, oh, that was just a slam dunk and you should all do this immediately.
Well, let me answer the second one first. Is the core value exercise is fantastic. And just hearing from your friends, what they see the great qualities in yourself and that kind of thing is to me invaluable, because then that's what you base everything else off of, is like your hiring and the customers you look for. And what's great about it is that they're going to want to do business with you and they're going to want to work for you because of your core values.
Well, here we are, the end of the podcast, and you made it. Great job. I've got a little bonus for you for sticking through with me. But like I mentioned before, if you got value out of this podcast and you want to show a little love, subscribe, rate, and review on iTunes, Spotify, wherever the heck you're listening to this thing. Share with a friend, share the love. And as a special thank you for those of you that stuck with me to the end, how about I give you my personal phone number so we can text? It's a great way for me to get to know you, your business, your goals personally. So shoot me a text now, 602-932-6431. That's 602-932-6431. I am the only one who responds to these texts, and I will personally respond to everyone I possibly can as long as this number is manned. Don't know how long we're going to keep this at the end of the podcast, so grab it now. 602-932-6431. Give me a text, say hey, can't wait to meet you.